So I had to start it again. Hello. Dog Lord, are you... Can you hear us?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the first space. My phone disconnected and it ended the whole space.
I guess we can start now because everyone's here already.
Yeah, we give it... let me give it another couple of minutes because there was a lot... I think there was a lot more people on here. And then it disconnected, so let's see if a couple more people are going to come back. Just 1 or 2 more minutes. I can see people are joining still. Okay. I think we can get started. First of all, thank you everyone for joining. It's good to see everyone here as usual. There's a good amount of people listening this week. Is there anything that you wanted to say to start off, Dog Lord?
No, I guess we can start off with the updates for the week and then move forward to questions.
Yeah. So this week, there's not a lot of big updates in terms of public updates that we can make. So it'll be I think it'll be quite short and sweet this week because we're working on a lot of things behind the scenes that we can't really share. But yeah, with regards to development, we launched the new version of the game with the minimap, with the chart in Bullish, and also we updated the game so you no longer have to scan the QR code and connect your wallet every single time you open the game. And I think that'll make the experience a lot better for people. We're also working on some significant updates for the game that should, with regards to how the wallet system works. That'll probably be about a month or so, but we're designing basically the full system for how the wallets will work, and we'll give some more updates on that once it's done. That's the sort of rough updates from the development side of the game. I think people are able to play right now, if I believe. Is that right, Dog Lord? Is the server open? Dog Lord?
Sorry, I was on mute. The server is open, yes. This AMA and gameplay live stream it's being live streamed on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and I think I've also seen some people playing in the game right now.
Okay. So yeah, so we're streaming the game. The servers are open right now. So if anyone is an alpha tester, please feel free to play and give us your feedback on the latest update. I think the feedback so far has been really good with regards to the tweaks that we made to the jumping. There's a lot of small things that we've been working on to make the game a little bit less buggy. Simple things to do with like movement, such as the jumping, so you can move side to side as you jump. Makes a big difference to a lot of the players. We added the inverted controls because I know some of the players, very few, but I believe Mike being one of them, likes to play with inverted mouse for some reason. So we've added that functionality in for the people that are used to inverted mouse. Yeah, basically there's been a lot of bug fixes. I think the launcher now, that there was a lot of, not a lot, but a few people had issues with the launcher on the game. they were unable to launch the game successfully, and I think we've solved that problem with the new update. So hopefully, a lot more people are able to play with the launcher. With regards to the marketing side and PR side, this week there should be a bit more PR coming out regarding Bezoge itself. we are actively working on that. Even today, we had a press release released on PR Newswire, and there's a lot of media picking it up already. But keep an eye out in the next few days, and certainly over this month for a lot more PR coming out regarding Bezoge. I'm thinking what else there is to update from my side. That's actually pretty much it that we can say publicly. As I said, there's actually a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I wish we could tell you. We're also working on the cinematic trailer, so there should be hopefully within at least 100% before the end of the year, we should be able to have a really nice cinematic trailer, and ideally significantly before then we'll be able to have at least a teaser of the cinematic trailer that we can share out. So that's something that we're also working on. Douglas, did you have anything else to add before we move to the questions?
I was going to talk about the marketing a little bit, but you kind of took that. You've been stealing my spotlight for a while now.
Oh, sorry, I keep stealing your marketing spotlight. Did you have anything to add regarding the marketing?
No, there's a lot going on. It's just that we can't announce it until it's announced.
Yeah, I agree. I wish there's because there's actually a lot going on. This is about the busiest that we've been in the office for months. But it's just that there's not really a lot that we can actually say publicly. So everyone has a lot to look forward to. We're working on a lot of things. But again, yeah, not a lot that we can say publicly. So I think that's it from our side. Let's open up the questions if people have questions to ask. Are there any questions? Or are people being very quiet this week?
Is this your shortest AMA?
Are there any questions on the stream, Douglas? There's Paul is asking a question.
Yeah, there's one question. Can you increase the size of the Bezoge character? The answer to that is no.
I mean, if the size of the Bezoge character, is there any specific reason why people think the character is too small? For the person that asked that question?
No idea. That was a YouTube comment.
I
think I was playing while quite zoomed out, so probably that's the reason why.
Oh, that's probably why. Yeah, if you zoom in, because if it's an issue of the character being too small, you can actually zoom with the scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in and out of and make the Bezoge a little bit larger. Okay, so Paul, fire away.
Hi Dev. Hi everybody. Just tell me to stop asking about summoning for another 2 weeks if it's easier to answer these questions, Jeff and Douglas. Just following up 2 weeks after it was asked about the tokenomics of summoning. Is that still on track or rethinking based on the current works that you're doing right now?
So regarding the summoning, we have been looking at multiple options on what it's going to probably cost in terms of Bezos and blocks. To be honest, we haven't come down to a final number. We're still looking at. We want to make sure we get this right. So we haven't exactly come up with a few numbers, but we're definitely working on it as well, like, on a regular basis, trying to figure out what would be the right number of Bezoges and the blocks to be burnt to summon a new Bezoge.
Yeah, I actually had a long discussion with one of my devs today regarding summoning costs, the inflation and the minting and burning of blocks within the game, and how we can set up the algorithm so everything works correctly. We chatted about it for just over about an hour actually. So it's complex because there's a lot of factors that have to be factored into how the summoning works, and not only how the summoning works, but how the economics of the entire game work. But I do think that one way that we can solve the summoning problem, not the problem really as such, as the price, is to link it to using an oracle. So we could have an oracle that will fetch the price of Bezoge, and then we will pin the price of summoning basically to a US dollar value. That's one way we can do it.
Sounds good. Okay, so I look forward to that.
Even if it's not like directly a US dollar price, but sort of pinned to some US dollar sort of thresholds. You know what I mean? So if the market cap of the token is between X amount and Y amount, then the summoning price will be so much, and it can go up in tiers. Something along those lines is something that I think will make the most sense, because otherwise, as the price changes, we're going to have to keep updating the price of summoning over and over and over again. And I think it doesn't make sense for us to keep changing it on a daily basis. It would be better for that sort of process to be more automated in terms of the Bezoge and the block price. I think the Bezoge price anyway, but not the block price. I think the block price will be fixed to a certain extent.
So the price of summoning itself won't be fixed. That will vary. Is that what you're saying?
It will have to, because of the nature of how it works, right? Because if, let's say, the previous price, for example, I think we said 100 billion.
Yes.
100 billion is a lot now.
It is a lot.
I think it's not feasible for it to be 100 billion anymore.
I think it's
So
not
it's definitely
feasible to be a token value, but rather a fixed price.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if we can definitely include there's already an oracle included in the summoning, because we have to grab the metadata of the two Bezogis used to summon from our servers already, because the metadata is stored on a URL, right? It's on a website, basically. It's not in a smart contract. It's not stored anywhere in a smart contract. So we have to have an oracle already to fetch the data of the two Bezogis being used to summon. So we can also fetch the price of Bezoge at the same time.
Yeah. And then are you still going with the architecture that it's more expensive to summon a Bezoge based on its principle that it's already been summoned 4 or 5 times? Or are you reviewing that?
Yeah, the price of summoning will definitely continue to go up over time, yeah. As you keep summoning with those Bezogi. That's a key mechanic, so that you don't get a monopoly of people that just own all the Bezogis. like Bobby, for example. Does that answer the question, Paul?
Yeah, it does. I think so. Thanks.
I think without saying the exact costs and everything, it will definitely be based on a US dollar value. I think that makes the most sense.
Okay. All right. That's fine for me. I got another question, if I can ask.
Go for it.
Yeah. It's again just on the maybe you don't know at this stage, but and if you don't know, it's fine. It's just the rental itself, the rental service itself. Like, how will, like, for example, if I've got 10 Bezogis being rented, somebody else has 20 Bezogis being rented, and somebody else has 30 Bezogis being rented. How will that rental work? Will it be like first in, first out, or how will that work? Like the actual rental itself?
Yeah, I think that we'll have to. That isn't that simple.
Yeah,
it will be. We will definitely create a system that will be recommending Bezogis to players based on whether or not you already have one rented out. So, for example, I think that the best way to do it, there'll be a lot of factors, but one of the factors will be, for example, like you just said, if you have 20 up for rent, someone else has 10, one of your 20 is already rented out, then the person that is has got 10 up for rent, but none of them have been rented out yet, would be prioritized. So that the goal would be to let everyone rent out one first, right? Essentially. And then I think this is what makes most sense. But again, we're going to have to test this and have some algorithms in place. And there'll also be by recommended, I just mean it would be at the top of the list. It doesn't necessarily mean that people would actually choose it.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense to recommend, at least if there's an auto select function, for example, like you can't choose, then it would just, select the one at the top of the list, which we may do.
Yeah.
We're going to have to test that and see what model works.
Yeah, it's fair, right? From that perspective, it's kind of like
it is fair.
Yeah.
There's also potentially we could just do it randomized.
Also,
that's another way we could do it. That it's just completely random,
Yeah.
which is also kind of fair. But
Sure.
I think it's more fair if we just go around in circles, essentially, with making sure everyone has one rented out.
Yeah.
And prioritize who hasn't had them rented out. I think that's the fairest.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I'll stop asking questions. That's enough time. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Right, Bezoge. Hey, Bezoge.
Hey, so I just had a question that was asked when I was streaming that I know you guys already put in for it, but when the coin market cap and CoinGecko's description will be changed, or when you guys put that in.
Okay, Doglord can give you an answer on that one. He's been working on that.
So I have already applied for the coin market description change. That should be reflected in the next 24 hours. At the same time, we'll also probably be reflecting the NFT and plate, not NFT, metaverse and plate one category on CoinMarketCap. Even that should be updated in the next 24 hours. That's the reply I got from CoinMarketCap. Regarding CoinGecko, that will be done tomorrow, because I'm already in discussion with CoinGecko on something else. So I don't want to mix these two things up and delay the initial thing. So yeah, CoinGecko will be this week, and CoinMarketCap should be in the next 24 hours.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, let me get on to Sky Breezy. Thanks for the question, by the way, Bezoge.
I just had a quick question. I'm not really sure if it's relevant. I hope it is. But my question was about kind of like in the future, will we be able to buy property in the game? And like, if so, what would we be able to do with that property? Like, what would be the extent of, like, would you be able to rent it off like we're able to rent the Bezogies? Or, would it just more so be to play with? So yeah, that's my question.
Okay, I can answer a little bit. Doglord will have an answer to that as well. But yeah, we'll have land, not in the neutral zone. So the center of the map is the neutral zone. That's what the current alpha is. But in the lands of the different breeds in the origin zones, they will have land available to purchase. The main thing about having land is you'll get a percentage of the income of all of the income derived from your land. So if there's a shib killed on your land and it breaks down into blocks, you'll take a percentage of that as a fee for your land. So that's the main function of land. We do also want to look into potentially allowing players to upgrade their land in a way by, let's say, adding totems or by adding things to the land to increase the stats of players that use their land. So that's another way that we're thinking of using the land.
Okay.
But we're also sort of, in another way, we're also trying to add in, we will be adding in your own sort of homeland, which you don't have to buy. Every player will have their own. We've not really come up with a name for it yet necessarily, but you'll have your own land, sort of like on like Animal Crossing, where you can build you can invite your friends and family in to play around with you in your own little land. That's not public to everyone else. It's like a private land. That'll mainly be used for things like tutorials within the game. So when you first play the game, we don't want everyone doing tutorials in the main world, because you're going to just see a load of people running around doing sort of random stuff, killing shibs and stuff like that that are not actually getting any blocks. But we want to have like your own little land that you can buy things for. You can put items in there. You can show off all your NFTs. So if you've got 10 Bezogies, those 10 Bezogies will just be walking around like NPCs in your own little home. And you'll be able to buy, mint, and buy and sell items to put in your land. But that will be like, it wouldn't be it's not a purchasable land. That is like your little homeland that every player will get for free. Land within the game is slightly different to that.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that.
You're welcome. Thanks for the. Right, let me move on to Crypto Hacker 717. Hope you're not a real hacker. Okay, Crypto Hacker, fire away.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. Will you be able to buy and sell Bezogies or weapons on Opensea with anything other than ETH? Like, will we be able to buy them with the in-game currency?
We will have our own NFT platform on there.
Okay.
We'll have our own NFT marketplace. You'll be able to use most likely Bezoge, most likely also blocks and ETH. We'll look into whether we support other tokens or not. Maybe USDT as well.
All right, cool.
But there's some actually very. I'm not going to discuss on this call, but we do have some other really cool plans on how you're going to be able to buy Bezogies and NFTs within the game on our own marketplace. But we'll not go into that today.
Okay. And
I'll just
do we have an updated number on the like the max concurrent players on the alpha?
The maximum players that were online at one time?
Yeah.
I need to check that. I think it was around 50 last time I checked. We're actually, this week, we're going to be actively adding a lot more players to the alpha testing.
Okay.
And so it should increase. But I think it's about 50 at the moment. Doglord, is that correct?
Yeah, it's around 50. And we weren't adding many because we had some bugs that we needed to fix first. But since today, I've actually started adding a lot more. So I added 80 more people onto the alpha tester server. And in the coming days, I'll be adding a few hundred more before the next sessions. So we should see that number going up now.
But I believe we've actually restricted the server so that 50 people can be in one room at a time. And you actually won't know which room you're in. So by room, I mean it's the same server, but you're in a different room. So once you get to like player number 51, we actually move them into, it's essentially another server, but it's room number 2. So you would be only in there on your own, essentially. We're doing that because the main goal of the alpha itself is to test the stability of the servers, right, and to test the gameplay. We don't want to. We're working on the networking always, every day, and improving it and optimizing it. But as we optimize it, we're able to optimize that with just 50 players online. Once we've optimized it a bit more, we'll start increasing. But we want the experience to be as stable as possible during the alpha testing phase. We will sort of start stress testing it later and try and get 100 players, 200 players in the one room. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of optimization on network so that we can handle as many players as possible. But if you know a bit about game development, getting more than sort of 100 to 200 people in one room, so not just the server, but within one room, is actually extremely difficult. So we'll probably, and even with 50 people in such a big world, you're constantly bumping into people. So it's already quite a good experience. But yeah, that's how it currently works. So about 50 people per room.
Okay. And then I had one more quick question. Are the pets supposed to have an identical one, like with the same pet number and everything?
Yeah. So, well, I wouldn't say that they're meant to, but there was an issue with the code. So we had an issue with the code. There was a bug in there. And that's why they were actually the Bezogis, and we turned them into pets. That's something that actually I forgot to mention. We're actually working on. I've almost completed the models for all the pets, and we will launch those within the next 1 to 2 weeks. So we'll update all the metadata of the pets. There will be duplicates, so that's why we airdropped all the pets to everyone. We said everyone can keep their pets. Well, they were meant to be the Bezogis. We turned them into pets, and we airdropped them the Bezogis. So there was a bug in the code that they were duplicates. There was an issue with it, and that's why there's duplicates there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But rather than just turn those into a waste of time, we decided let's make them into something useful in the game and make them into pets as a little gift to everyone for the inconvenience.
Got it. All right. Well, that's all the questions I had. So thank you.
Okay. Thanks for your questions. All right. Let me get on to Key. Hey, Key.
Hi, how are you?
Fabulous, as
Great
you would
stuff.
say.
Okay, just a quick one. Could you give us a little bit of an update on how work is going on the 8 worlds? I know the initial area looks absolutely stunning, but I guess there's quite a big job doing those 8 different areas.
Yeah, we're working on the Bezoge section. That'll be the next one. I think it should be reasonably soon. I don't have an exact timeline. I would have to ask the development team because I've not actually looked into the specific timeline on the Bezoge section yet. But I know that that's the section they're working on. I'll speak to them tomorrow. I'll get a more. I don't want to give you an incorrect answer, but I think it'll be in the next couple of weeks. But I don't want to give an incorrect answer.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Keith. All right, let me get. I think this is Mike. I finally remembered that this is Mike this week. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. How about you?
Good. Hey, not too bad. Quick question for you about the coin market cap description and everything like that. Is there or is it possible to have a quick video like put on there or like for us to use to new members to give a because there's so much that got done the last few months, right? To have a quick video on like a recap, like a nutshell of what all been done. I have a lot of. I'm talking to a few YouTubers, right? And it's like, and it's getting a little overwhelming with everything you guys are doing because you guys are moving really, really fast. A quick video as a like a recap of what all been done. Do you think that's something you guys can put together?
Doglord, do you want to answer on that one? It's kind of your forte.
I'll be honest with you. I can't give you a definite timeline because there's a lot that's already being backlogged on this. Specifically, the next few videos we want to come out with is regarding how you can buy on MetaMask, and like that's our top priority. How you can buy on MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, and Trust Wallet. After that, I can look into that. I'm being very open and honest. Like it's gonna be difficult to put that up in this week at least.
Fair enough. I just figured I'd ask, and maybe it's something for for the near future, not necessarily this week, but just to keep it in the back of your head. It'll help us in the project. I feel like in general. to give a quick recap to new people on what all has been done and what should they be expecting. For the people that don't follow AMAs and they don't have the time to drop in every day, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get your point. What we usually do is we set out announcements based on what development updates have been done, specifically in terms of build updates and the game updates. I can work on a system where this can be refined in a much easier way, where any newcomer coming in can see the achievements done in the past week and what something to look forward to in the next few weeks.
Sounds good, man. That was my only question. I appreciate it. Everything looking good.
Thanks. Thanks for the info.
Right, we move on to the next question. Right, Mestolf. Hey, Mestolf. No, I think we're having
Okay,
you've
sorry.
muted yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, I was playing the alpha, but so I have a question. Is it auto updated or do I have to re-download? I think I have the original alpha downloaded, and
Okay, I think what you need to do is
Yeah.
you need to go into the Discord channel.
I got that. Yeah.
There's an update link. Well, there's an updated link to download the launcher. Once you download the launcher, it should patch automatically to the latest version for you.
Okay, I'll have to find that. And I had a question about the dark Zogis. Are they going to reduce summoning cost? Is that the mechanic that they're going to bring because they're supposed to be summoners? Or
not necessarily. We'll make an update in the next few weeks.
Okay.
About exactly what they have, but it's not necessarily reduced summoning costs. It is more than likely more efficient summoning. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the wiki and how we're doing the summoning, you basically every time, let's say you choose the nose first, and the nose is black, then the next part of the body has half a chance to be black, because we're halving the chance of already selected colors, right?
Yes.
So with the dark Zoji, what we'll do is won't reduce it by half. We might reduce it by 40% instead of 50%.
Is that going to scale with their rarity, or will I have any play with it?
What do you mean? What do you mean exactly?
Like rare, like the rare, epic, or mixed. Will that have any effect on that?
No, the rarity won't.
Okay.
But the percentage of their body will.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. All right. Well, that's all the questions I had. Thanks for the update on that.
Okay. Thanks, CD. Assuming is that you, CD?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, wrong person.
Yeah, no. It's fine. All right. Have a nice day, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any more questions from the community? Or are there any, Doglord, are there any on YouTube that I've missed?
I'm just taking a look now.
Paul has another one. Let me get him on.
So there's a question that's, can I summon my Bezogis if my NFTs are in two different wallets? The answer to that is no, you cannot. You need to have the same wallet.
Yeah, they'll have to be owned by the same person, and in blockchain terms, being owned by one person means you have them both in one wallet. But it's very cheap. There's almost zero gas fees on Polygon to move them between wallets. So you can just transfer them. You don't need to buy it. You can just transfer it to your own wallet.
So can you
Quite
tell
easily
how
on
it can be
OpenSea.
transferred? Because someone's having an issue.
Yeah, they're very easy to transfer on OpenSea. That's the easiest way. If you go into OpenSea, open the Bezoge that you want to transfer, and just click transfer, and you can and type in the address of the wallet you want to transfer it to. It's very simple. I've done a lot of transfers over the last few weeks for prize giveaways and to people that we've been working with. So it's quite easy to do. But the one issue I found is you have to do them one by one. There may be a way that you can do collections and do multiple Bezoges at once, but I think you basically have to do one by one. So it can be a little bit tedious. Anyway, if you have questions about how to do transfers, if someone has questions about that, they can ask in the group. And I'm sure some people are more than... Bobby is very experienced with transfers. If he's on here, he can certainly help. There's a lot of people within the community that can help. Okay, Paul, you want to fire away with your question?
Yeah, it's just having thoughts about what we were discussing earlier about the summoning and the summoning cost to increase. I see a potential issue there with reselling them, right? Because let's just think about scale for a second. If you want to summon to then sell on to new players that want to buy, if the summoning cost is increasing, then the price likely of those summoned Bezogis that one would want to sell would be increasing too. Isn't that going to hurt the latecomers to the game, let's say in 6 months, 12 months time, that want to buy a Bezoge? It's going to be really...
I think it's actually the opposite. Well, to a certain extent, it's both sides. So it's going to hurt the person that is doing all the summoning, because the more you summon, the value of your Bezogis that you've used to summon are going to go down because they're less useful, right? They're less useful in the fact that it's more expensive to summon with them, right? But the Bezogis that you summon, they also start from tier 1 again. So if you use 2 Bezogis to summon, and you summon a new one, the 2 Bezogis that you use to summon go up to the 2nd tier of pricing, right? Because they've both summoned 1 each.
Yeah.
But the one that you summon is still at 0. So it's still at the 1st tier. It's also already the cheapest if you want to use the new one, the one that you summoned, to summon another one.
Okay, I understand. Okay, all right, I see what you're doing. Okay, so you're basing it on... All right, I see. Okay.
It's
all right,
not,
that
the
makes
price
sense.
isn't... Yeah, the price isn't constantly going up. It's only going up for the ones that have already been used to summon with.
Okay. I see what you're doing. Okay, I see the
Yeah,
model.
so like, let's say Bezoge 1 and Bezoge number 2. I use them to summon, and I summon Bezoge number 3. The price for Bezoge 1 and 2 to summon is onto the 2nd tier of pricing, but the price of using Bezoge number 3 to summon is still back on tier 1. It starts fresh.
Yeah.
Were you under the impression that Bezoge 3 was also going up in price?
No, I'm under the impression that the cost of summoning is not only the cost of the summoning function, it's also the cost of the 2 Bezogis, right, that you have. So that's the true cost. If you want to resell something, the true cost is actually the cost of the 2 Bezogis that one owns, plus the summoning costs. That would be could be effectively a real sell value for real market 1 Bezoge. Considering that in the NFTs, right, some of us were paying 0.96. So, the fact is that we don't want to price out newcomers. The market will ultimately determine it. But you answered the question in terms of my thinking that it would go up. But yeah, I can see what you've done there. So,
well, if we make the summoning costs cheap enough, then I think the real definition of the pricing will be on what the summoning costs are. If it's really cheap to summon, then the Bezogis that are summoned will not be worth very much. If it's very expensive to summon, then they're going to be worth more. So I think there's going to be a direct link between the token price and the summoned Bezoge's price. So
Yeah.
if we, because the real cost of creating a Bezoge is the decrease in value of the two Bezoge. I don't think it's the value of the two Bezoges that you're summoning with. I would say it's the decrease in value of the two Bezoges you're summoning with due to their summon counts increasing.
I'd say that's the opportunity cost, but yeah, okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
To a certain extent, but those Bezoges are going to go down in value, right? Because their summon count has gone up.
Yeah.
And then you have the cost of the blocks, and then you have the cost of the Bezoge that you're burning, and then you also have the gas fees. So
Okay.
I would say that's sort of that's how the value is derived. That's what you're losing when you summon, right? And then there's going to be, of course, the value of the Bezoge that you create. So if you create an epic, for example, it's going to have a different value, right? So yeah, there is opportunity cost lost, but there's not much opportunity cost essentially.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is that we want there to, I mean, I don't know what the objective is, but I'm just thinking that we want there to be sufficient for the game success. We want there to be sufficient Bezoges out there for rent, and B, we want there to be, for example, sufficient Bezoges out there for purchase because people will also want to buy, and those mechanics need to be looked at. And you are looking at them, so it's great. And I was just offering some thoughts on it. That's all.
Yeah, it's a very complex. It's as you can imagine, you've sent me a lot of algorithms and calculations.
Yeah, I've got more, but I stopped sending because I thought you were busy. So if you're dev or anyone wants to talk, I'm happy to, because those Excel sheets are easy. They just take time to form up. So
no, I did look through it, but I do apologize. I have been a bit busy to actually.
That's all right. That's okay. It's not priority. No problem.
But it's something that's actually going to, not necessarily just that we can come up with an Excel spreadsheet. It's more we're going to have to actually test it in real life, and it's going to be wrong the first time. I'll put my hands up and say it's going to be wrong. It's going to have to be changed a lot of times, until we eventually get it right. And then as the token price changes, as the players scale up, the algorithms are going to have to change again as well. It'll be a constant learning process, and we'll be constantly changing it, and that's fine.
Okay,
that's
as long as I mean, then I'm looking forward to a really low summoning cost initially while we're going through that learning process.
Well, do you know what? I think I agree with you. I actually think the summoning cost will partially be pinned to the growth of online players. If there's a significant growth in DAUs, then we're going to have to decrease the summoning cost and decrease the summoning time in order to get more Bezoges pumped out fast.
Yeah.
Which is more advantageous for all the people that own Bezoges, even though it's technically devaluing them.
Yeah.
But their rental, the cost of Bezoges will get cheaper, but the rental income will increase.
Yeah.
So actually, the value of them is technically going to go up. So we'll have to sort of balance that out. There's a lot of different factors in what the actual value of a Bezoge is.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of, tweaking each one and getting it right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Black. Cheers.
You're welcome, Paul. Thanks for the question. Right, Crypto Man. I think that's SAS. I had already added you as a speaker, but you had left. Hey, Crypto Man.
Oh, it's me, SAS. Hi. How you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Someone on the group just asked a question, and I thought he directed it to Doglord, but I thought I'll ask it in case it gets buried between the messages. His question was, if we rent 2 Bezoges, will there be an option to restrict the rentee to summon Bezoges, because maybe I wouldn't want to increase the cost of my summoning and I want to summon later? Is that
I
an
can
option?
Yeah, I can answer that. The rented Bezogis can't summon.
Oh,
Rented Bezogis, we've said this a few times.
Yeah.
Rented Bezogis can't summon, but they can mint. So they can create items and weapons because that
Right.
has no direct effect on the value of the NFT itself.
Yeah.
But it cannot summon because that's unfair for the person renting it out. Because it's
Yeah.
devaluing their NFT, right? So you can't summon, but you can mint.
I see. Can you give them authority to summon, or is that just a no-no?
No, it overcomplicates things.
Right. Okay.
You can only summon. You can only summon if you own the Bezogia yourself.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Cheers, Jeff.
Okay, no problem. Right, let me get Bezoge's mob. I like the username. The username is @Bezoge to the moon. Hi, Bezoge mob.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I was curious. So as you summons the Bezogis, their value NFT of the NFT will drop a little bit as time goes on. Is there any way to separate the original Bezogis 4096 and the ones that are summoned after the original ones to maybe change the way that they're allowed to summon to retain the value of the original Bezogis that were first put out, and then have a separate say set of rules for the ones that have been summoned, not the original ones. So to try to help retain the value of the original 4096 NFTs, is there any way that there could be something set up to help retain the value of those as opposed to summons?
Doglord, do you want to go for that?
We are looking at a few different variations. To answer your question clearly, they're gonna look alike. They're gonna definitely, you're not gonna see newer color patterns or anything, because that was one thing we were brainstorming, and we kind of rejected the fact that maybe the second generation and the third generation could possibly have different color patterns, like wood or texture or abstract or something like that. We haven't set it down in stone, but we're possibly thinking of having small minor differences between the first and the OG generation and the other Bezogis. That's it. Not the second, third, and the fourth would kind of be identified with the numbers that are coming out on the Bezogis. But when it comes to the OGs and everything after that, we might do something. We've still not figured out exactly what, because we want to make sure they look alike. But you'll see a small difference, which would be easily identifiable, that what's OG, which is the 4096, and what's not. Does that help?
Yeah, I don't know if I lost you or whatever. So what I'm saying, there's a limit to how many Bezogis each Bezogi can summon. Is that correct? Summons?
No. They can
There's
summon as many. It's just the cost of summoning goes up.
Right. Okay. So I was just curious. Okay, so you kind of answered that a little bit. You're looking at a way to adjust it to, because the OGs. I mean, I think obviously I have some, but to retain the value of the original ones, in my opinion, would be a great.
If you see other popular games, you'll notice that regardless of whether they all have some, you can still summon more out of those characters or not. Like, for example, let's take Axie Infinity. You have the initial Axies, which were again 4096, and whether you can summon new Axies out of them or not, that's irrelevant, because the price of those is still way higher than any new NFT in that game coming out.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. for the question. I think it's Bezogian 1. Is that you? Okay. So let's move on to Little MF. Hey, Little MF. Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
I have a question. I guess it's kind of about a couple of questions that were already asked. So when someone comes in new and they're renting their Bezoge because they're playing for free in the beginning, it seems like some Bezoges are going to be better tasks, because I know you talked about having like daily and weekly tasks in order for like additional rewards or whatever while you're playing the game. And it seems like players are gonna gravitate towards certain Bezoges for certain tasks. So if I have to do a lot of killing or something and that's my task, I may go get a Zerk Zoji, or I may go get one that has shielding, or because players are going to have different strategies. They might want to be somebody might want to go in and tank, so they might go get like a shield and healing Zoji, and then partner up with other friends, and then they may go in and try to get like a whole bunch of Zerk Zojis, and then they can team up to kill like a really powerful enemy. And so I'm thinking about the way people will play in groups, because I know you discussed earlier, possibly when you're talking about the rental system, how it will be tiered to make it fair for the owners in the rental system.
Yeah, well, the rental system, there's one potential solution to that, for example, would be we give rent, like people that want to rent, let's say rentees. I'm not sure the exact word. I think it would be like lessees or lessees, I think it was usually called. Anyway, the people that are renting, there may be two options to rent. One would be get a random Bezogi, and one would be you can choose. And perhaps if you choose, you would pay a slightly higher percentage of your earnings to the owner. That's one way to solve that problem. So if you do random, then you can only do, you can't just keep doing random over and over again. We would put a limit on it. But like per day or per hour, whatever it is, so that people don't just keep pressing random until they get the one they want.
Right.
But we perhaps do random would pay less commission to the owner.
Okay.
But if you wanted to choose, you could pay a little bit more as a premium in order to choose exactly which one you want. Would that make sense?
Yeah. That would. Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a good idea. Okay. I figured you guys were thinking about it. It just hadn't been discussed. So then there was another half to the question.
Okay. If you can remember the other half to the question.
Yeah, sorry. It's a lot to absorb. So in this, when you're summoning, I know you mentioned earlier, I've been through the wiki. It seems like do you have to summon the nose first, and then you summon the eyes, and then you summon, so you summon the lesser percentages? Or do you get to choose?
No, you don't get to choose. That all happens in code. That's just the process that the code goes through. The code will choose the nose first, then it'll choose the eyes, then it'll choose the fur highlight, then it will choose the fur. So
in that respect, so if I have like a 70-30 Bezogi or something, the higher percentage is going to become almost most of the time is going to become the lowest percentage when you summon, because that's the way that's because it's in reverse. That makes sense?
Potentially.
I mean, I don't know, there's always randoms, or statistically outliers. So what I'm trying to get at is I only have 3 Bezogis, But I don't have any healing, and I don't have any Zerk, and I don't have any speed. And I feel like those are really important traits to have.
They are, yeah. They are.
And so even if I summon, I think the only Zerk that I have is a 10% of one of my Zogis. And so I feel like in order to have a better chance in the rental system and also in play, I may need to go online on Opensea and buy a Zerk just to balance out what I can summon.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I'm just trying to go over it.
And also with regards to the summoning, once we're still in the process of coding it out. Once we code it, we will be doing tests and working out exactly whether we do the nose first or not. That it does make sense. I get what you're saying. We may do the fur first. It's not set in stone that we're doing the nose first. That was just as an example in the wiki.
Right. I mean,
if we go through the testing, I get your feedback there, and it does make sense. It may make more sense if we start with the higher percentage body parts.
True, but I also feel like even if you did the nose first, I do feel like it brings more balance to the game, because you're basically reversing the chances. I mean, it's on a sliding scale, obviously, but like you're reversing the chances so that if someone is just pumping out Zerk Jogis because they rent faster, then you just keep pumping them out and pumping them out and pumping them out, and it ends. They end up with a fortitude of Zerk Zogis because they tend to be better rentals. And so maybe doing the nose first it works better because it keeps people from being able to have like a monopoly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also makes sense. What we could also do is, I'm just spitballing here, is we'll look into this now that you've mentioned it, and I'm realizing it may be quite a strong factor in how the summoning works. We could also randomize which body part we choose first. We just randomly choose one of the 4 body parts, one after the other. That would also work.
Yeah.
We'll run some tests when we're close to setting that up, because these are very simple things that we could test, and we could perhaps, summon 1,000 Bezogis one after the other with all these different variants and look at the data, and then make a decision from there. But I think randomizing which body part is first and randomizing the color and in the way that we said we're going to do it would probably solve the issue. It would.
I'm just trying to figure out how to not create a monopoly, because I'm missing a lot of the stats. And then if I wanted it to be more fair for me, I would have to go buy out those stats in order to equalize my chances.
Oh no, I get it, because
and I'm sure
if it was the other way around,
that happens with a lot of people.
If it's the other way around, for example, with the issue we're saying, if it is the nose first, then the most dominant body color will actually become the least.
Yeah.
Then it's also easy to sort of cheat the game, right? To play the game, because you have a higher chance of creating it the other way.
Right.
So you would use the small proportion of your body in order to summon, so that you would get a higher chance that was going to be the main breed. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what I was thinking. I could go out and I was going to go out and get a couple of Zerk Joji. Well, not Zerk Zogis, but actually ones that were just red for like the nose and the eyes, but be some other color for the body, so that in reverse, I could have a higher chance of ending up with a Zerk Zogi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to strategically think of what I need to go purchase if I want to broaden, because I'm missing a lot of stats that I think are going to be really important for the game and also in the rental. And so I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to balance what I own and what I rent.
Okay.
But thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll most likely randomize that. I think it makes most sense. But again, we'll run some tests internally and we'll work out what works.
Okay.
What is most fair, what we believe is most fair. That'll give us I think the goal that we'll be going for is from the summoning, we want to have as even a spread as possible of different variations. We want as many variations as possible from the summoning results.
Right.
That's what we'll be going for, to make it as evenly, well, not as evenly, but as spread out as possible, rather than having a whole load of the same results.
Yeah.
We want it to be a completely different experience every time.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thanks for the question. It's a good question and good feedback. Okay, RTG. Hey, RTG. Well, we can't hear you, I don't think. Did you have a question, RTG? Are you speaking? Maybe an issue with your microphone. No, sorry, I can't hear anything. Let me remove you as a speaker and try again. RTG. Okay, RTG, I invited you as a speaker again if you want to accept. Okay, are there any other questions from the community while we try and sort out the audio issues with RTG? Or Douglas, did you have anything to say?
No, I'm actually just, I have nothing to add. Some people are having issues connecting their wallet. It's probably because I just added them to the whitelist today. So you just have to be patient, because we have Benji who takes care of adding those wallets into the game. And I probably think Benji's asleep right now. So you'll have to give it a day or two, but by the next section, you guys will be able to play the game. Just wanted to put that message out there. There is one question on YouTube, so you can probably answer that. Will there be vaults or depots we can store items that we loot in the game?
What was that question again, sir, Douglas? Will there be
vault or depots where we can store items that we loot in the game?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying in the beginning. Everyone will have their sort of own little home that they can store all of their items in, and the characters that they own, the NFTs that they own, will become animated, and they'll actually walk around in your own little world. So if you have 10 Bezogis in your wallet, they'll all be running around in your own little home, sort of like Animal Crossing style. So there's that, and every item that you own will actually be stored securely within your wallet. So there's no need for a vault specifically within the game. But we may sell something for aesthetic purposes, like within your own home, your little homeland within the game. You may be able to mint a vault, for example, that you could store items in just to look cool. But that would be more for aesthetic purposes than actually being a secure storage, because everything is secure in your wallet anyway. Right, okay, RTG, do you want to see if your microphone's working?
Yes, thank you so much. Sorry about that. I was in a bad area. My question is, yesterday I was with a friend and he was playing the alpha, Jacob the Great, and to me it looked 15 to 20% better than the last time that I had seen it a week prior. Did you guys turn on ray tracing and volumetric lighting? Because it just looked dramatically different to me yesterday. That was my question. It looks awesome. Amazing.
When it comes to ray tracing and volumetric lighting, the answer is no. I mean, there is ray tracing, of course, but that's just sort of built in. But we're basically just using the standard Unity lighting at the moment. We're not doing anything fancy. We will.
It looks amazing. That's incredible. I can't believe it's going to get better than it is
definitely
right
ray
now.
tracing.
That's the case.
But yeah, there will be more. Yeah, there will be more volumetric lighting as an option in the future builds, but that will be for very high spec computers only, because the world is so big that adding volumetric lighting and complicated ray tracing and anti-aliasing and all these things, because the world is so big, it takes a lot of power to do it at high res. So we'll have that option within the settings, but it'll only be available for everyone. But you'll need quite a powerful computer to be able to run it at full settings.
Okay, the reason I was asking is like the water, for instance, the color of the water and seeing the depth of the water. It just looks so much better on this build.
Oh, we did
one.
Yeah, we completely recoded the shader for the water. That was on, I think it was a week ago. We updated the water a week ago, and then we updated the shader and did some patches and fixes to it as well over the last week. So yeah, the water should look a lot better actually. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm more excited than ever. Love that article that just came out. It was total fire. Amazing. Very well written. Very well written.
Thank you. There'll be a lot more of that over the next few weeks. Or next few days, hopefully, as well, actually. Right, let me get on to either George or Elizabeth. I think this is going to be Elizabeth.
No, it's
Hey,
me. Sorry to disappoint you.
George.
Yeah, basically, I have two things. One's a question and one's a statement. The statement is my wallet it kept saying not registered, and I found out that I believe it was my phone's camera, because my wife was able to do it right away, and then I tried it like 30 times, and I finally turned the light off in the room, and I tried it like 2 or 3 different times from the angles, and it worked perfectly, with when I did it with my other phone that I have my wallet on, because it's a newer camera, on the phone when I took the QR code. But when I did it with my older phone, I guess that camera was not as good, so it didn't pick up, and it kept saying, not registered.
Okay.
So it could be an issue with the camera. So if there was a way to like type in your wallet address, a lot of people would have that issue resolved.
Okay, for that, that we're actually the way we're using Wallet Connect right now as the solution for the wallet, that is not how the final game will be. That's a temporary solution for the alpha.
Gotcha.
We have a much more. I'll not go into the technical and geeky details about exactly how we're making it work, but we'll essentially have a proxy wallet. So everyone will have to sign up for a new wallet that they will create that will become a proxy wallet, and you can link your original wallet to your proxy wallet so that you're never logging into the game with a high value wallet. Because if you've got a couple 100 trillion Bezoge in your wallet, you don't really want to be using it to log into a game. Right? There's security issues there. So what we're going to be doing is creating wallets for people that will become their sort of user, their wallet that they use to log into the game, and then you will be able to give the rights to use your NFTs to that wallet as a proxy. So then you're only ever logging into the game and accessing the game with a low security proxy wallet that doesn't have anything in it. And everything you earn will be earned by the main wallet, but you're able to log in using the proxy.
Gotcha.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
because there'll be a lot of users that have high value items in their wallet, like all their NFTs, for example. So we wanted to create a low security, well, not a low security, like a high security layer for people to be able to get in and not have to worry about logging in with their high value wallets.
Gotcha. And then
You're
like
essentially
selfishly, I
renting.
would like the
Sorry.
pets to like, be able to collect the blocks or be mountable, because like these maps are huge, but yeah. My other question was, where do you see, or what do you plan on the game being? Like, is it going to be like the common day chat room where, like, I remember back in the day, like people would just hang out in chat rooms all day, and just, talking to each other, but now with avatars and, or the Bezogis, do you plan on being more like that and kind of just like giving people the option to do whatever they want? Or even back then, like a few years ago, Netflix had an option. I mean, Xbox had an option with Netflix where you could have, invite people to a party, and if everybody had Netflix in that party, they were able to watch Netflix together. And like one person would be able to control the pause and play, so everything was in sync. Like it'd be nice if one day we could watch like the Super Bowl, if like we all had like ESPN Plus, and we would like be able to watch it together, and just kind of like, each other's energy.
So that's something that is a potential. I mean, I'm not going to say we're doing that, but what the way that we see the game evolving is along with the trend that there is right now with metaverse, right, and how people believe that there will be these online experiences, and you'll be able to do things in an online metaverse with your friends, right? Because at the moment, even though the game doesn't have really any functionality, right, other than running around and killing some enemies, right, and you're not actually earning anything yet. It's already a very fun experience, and the reason it's fun is because of the community. Like because a lot of the people in our community are hanging about in the voice chat all day anyway, and so it's much better for them if they can actually just hang around in the game and chat to their friends rather than just in a voice chat without any sort of visual aids, right? When you're in the voice chat, you're just staring into space, right? There's nothing to look at. But when there's actually a Bezoge running around you and you're interacting with people that you've met online, it's a much more immersive experience. So the way we see the game evolving is, first off, more community members inside, but secondly, we'll be bringing in DeFi protocols. So simple things like you can see the charts, right? I don't know if you've gone into the game and gone into Bullish and watched the Bezoge charts with the Bezoge's cheering. But that's sort of a first step just to show as a proof of concept the sort of things that we can add in. So we can actually link the game to the real world in things like bringing in Uniswap. We can bring in like the trading floor, right? You could go in and you can trade different tokens with your friends in the game. Experiences like that, like bringing in Aave, for example, that you could literally go into an Aave shop and take a loan from a loan shark on Aave, allowing players to experience DeFi protocols within the metaverse that is Bezogia is sort of the next evolution. And then going a step further to what you said is something that's definitely possible in the future, but I'm not necessarily committed to developing that yet. But yeah, it's an interesting concept of bringing in non-crypto related real world platforms, like you said, like watch the Super Bowl in Bezogia. Like if we could get some sort of deal with the company, with these broadcasting companies to do something like that, like have a big projector in the game, great. I mean, it'd be an amazing idea, and I think it would be really fun to have all these Bezogis sitting in a stadium watching the Super Bowl. That would be a cool thing.
Even if they
But
were
that
just
would be a
watching
long
the
way
same
down the line.
YouTube channel,
Yeah. I think it's a cool idea. There could be like a YouTube like a cinema in there or something, right? And you could literally just watch YouTube together. That's I think that would most likely be in the home experience. So the way that we want people to hang out with their friends, or we want to have this more private way of hanging out with your friends in the game, in that I discussed today about having sort of your own home. Like it's basically the lobby. So when you come into the game, you have your own little lobby that's your home, right? You store all your NFTs in there. They're all running around like NPCs. There are all your items are in there, and you can actually put things in there. So you may be able to mint mini games. So let's say the air hockey. You might be able to actually save up some blocks in the game, mint an air hockey table, and put it in your home. And then you and your friends can both come into your home. Like you're not just running around in the neutral land. You're actually in your home, just you and your friends. And you're playing air hockey together on the table that you bought, right? There's no reason why we couldn't buy a TV. You could buy a TV, and then you could pay for a YouTube subscription with some blocks, so that you could access YouTube within the game. Something along those lines is definitely something that we could explore in the future. I'm not saying we're definitely going to add it to the game, but it's something that would be quite cool.
Exactly. I just want to throw the idea out there. Appreciate you.
Yeah, good suggestion. Thanks for that. Okay, are there any final questions? Are there any other questions from the community on YouTube, Doglord?
Yeah, there was one. Will there be mission, task, quest, in-game marketplace, game chat? What about traveling systems like finding, capturing, and training a pet or a monster to ride around the map?
The answer to all of that is yes, other than the last one.
What? I can't ride on my pet?
You can. You may be able to ride on your pet. You may not. If people saw what the pets are going to be, a couple of them might be difficult to ride. But we can look into it. I think it would be a cool idea if you could get a speed boost from riding your pets. It would be cool. We'll consider the mountable pets. And the rest of the answers is yes, basically. You will have. Can you repeat those things again, Doglord? And I'll say each one.
Missions, tasks, quests.
Yeah, the missions and quests we definitely will have daily and weekly, maybe even monthly.
In-game marketplace, game chat.
Yes. In-game marketplace, and we have some very, very interesting ideas on how that's going to bring value into the ecosystem. We've been actually discussing that a lot recently, me and Doglord. Yep. Next, after that,
game chat.
That game chat is actually already 90% coded, like typing within the game. That should be hopefully in next week's version of the game.
Yeah, the rest was about the traveling on the pets.
Traveling on the pets, we'll test it. I think it would be cool, but I'm not 100% committed to it yet. I would rather have teleportation within the. I'd rather have it that you can walk around the map, discover different areas of it, and unlock different teleport points. Once you've explored that area of the map, then you're able to teleport there. I would rather do that than mountable pets. But mountable pets, perhaps, will be something we'll do. Because I know, like in Zelda, for example, the horses are really cool. Like it's really cool to be able to mount a horse and get around the map a lot faster. So we can look into that.
Okay.
Once you see what some Doglord, you've seen what some of the animals are. Some of them might be a bit weird to be mounted.
Okay.
But yeah, we can look into that.
Every one of them is mountable.
Yeah, now that I think about it, they are all mountable, but some of them would be quite funny.
Okay, coming back. There's a question from a 7-year-old. Are the Bezogies modeled from Pembroke corgis because they are dogs without tails?
Not really. We kind of made them to be. They're kind of a mix between dogs and humans because they're standing up. They're not on their hind legs. They're very intelligent dogs, and they just happen to have no tail. We kind of took the aspect of they're more like humans than dogs. They're kind of like humans that look like dogs. So yeah, they have no tail.
Okay. You could have just said yes. It was a 7-year-old. So I made that kid happy. Okay. Someone asked why Jeff Bezos.
Why Jeff Bezos? At the time that we launched the token, there was a lot of talk around Elon, and we thought that at the time Jeff Bezos was the richest man in the world, and we thought he deserved a bit of credit in the crypto industry as well. But that story is sort of it's a sort of a side note to what we're actually working on now with Bezogia. It's a very different world, and the story of the token may actually evolve and change now. We're definitely going to look into that.
Okay.
Would
Can
you
we
agree,
have Teslas
Douglas?
as mountables in the game?
Can we have what, sorry?
Teslas.
We won't have any branded items within the game. without making a partnership with that company. If Tesla reaches out and wants to make a partnership, then we could consider having some Teslas in the game.
Fair enough. That sums up the YouTube questions.
Okay. If there's no other questions from the community, then I think we'll end it there, seeing as it's 1:20 a.m. where we are. But yeah, good AMA. Thanks, some great questions. And like I said, we should have a lot more updates next week. This week just happens to be that everything we've been working on is kind of internal and not public yet. So there's not a lot that we could specifically update you on, but just be aware that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and it's very exciting actually. In fact, probably the most that we've done in a week since the beginning of the project. It's just that none of it is something we can publicly announce.
Okay.
Any last words from you, Doglord?
No, I guess that sums it up.
Okay.
We did have.
In that case, thank you,
Okay.
everyone. On you go.
We did forget to announce that we all added one more person to our team. We added a UI UX person onto our team, so you'll be seeing a lot more improvements in the game UI in the coming weeks.
Yeah, that's true. He starts tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, that was an update we kind of forgot to give.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean the team is growing. It's going to be growing at a much faster rate now, and so it'll even be tough for us to keep up with all the people that are joining the team and update it on a weekly basis. But the team is growing a lot. The office that we have, the new office that we have, is almost going to be full soon. So a lot going on. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. It's a great AMA. And if you have any further questions or issues, please feel free to ask in the community on Telegram, on Discord, on Twitter. There's always people within the community that are available to help or to